Alright guys, well this is what's going on with the 210 right now. The paint's still going kind of slow. We've sanded it and we're going to paint it another coat. But right now what I'm trying to do is get the motor back in it so we can hook the battery up and do all that stuff and start it up. So I ordered 2 new motor mounts here, these rubber pieces, these black rubber pieces, and they're not supposed to have a lot of flex in them so that when you sit the motor in, the mount doesn't bend like that, but you can see that's already bent. I don't know why. And then I put new nylon nuts on it. I spent the past couple hours trying to put them stupid little things in, and my grandfather and I dropped the motor in it, but it's not actually bolted in. It's not lined up, so my uncle's going to come down in a little bit, and all 3 of us are going to try putting it in. It's coming along, but once the Kohler goes in it, then I'm going to mount the battery tray. I'm going to hook up the wiring harness and everything. I mean, everything already is pretty much hooked up. I'm going to hook up the battery tray in the battery, charge the battery. I don't know if the battery's still good. I think it is, but it's an old battery. I don't know if it's original or not. So we're going to charge that up. I'll bolt the pedals to it, and then I'll fill the gas tank up, and we'll see if she'll start. So this might take a couple days to do, but the 210 hasn't started since August 22nd of last year, because it was a week after I got it. And I don't think the gas tank needs to be cleaned. I took a peek inside with a flashlight, and it looks pretty good. I still got the gas smell in it, obviously, but it's coming along. I mean, I got the put the steering wheel spinner on this. I had it on the LA 150, but it didn't fit that steering wheel, so I got 2 new screws for the neutral start switch and put them on, so now it's in the way it's supposed to be. And just yesterday I got my tiller lift pivot, which is the second part of the rear lift, and this kind of it's 2 pieces. There's a plate here, and then in the back it's hard to see, but there's a pivot, and the rod's hooked up. Actually, let me show you. So there you can see the top part of the rod is hooked up to the lift pivot there, which is secured with a clevis pin. And there's a pivot there with a grease fitting on it. And when you push back on when you push forward on the lift rod, it pushes back on the rock shaft rod, and then it basically pulls this back. And then there's a link. If you have a tiller or a sleeve hitch, there's a link that goes from here down the back here. And it pushes that back, and it's used to raise and lower the hitch or the tiller. So I'll show you. So it's in the back position. Now it's all the way down, and you can see now the link is forward like that. And so if you had a sleeve hitch, the sleeve hitch would be down, but the tiller would be down. So it's cool how that works. So yeah. So that's a couple other things I've done to it, and. Anyway, my uncle's going to come down in a bit. We're going to fix the motor and see if we can get her in right, so stay tuned. Alright guys, well this is progress being made. My grandfather and my uncle just left, and it took us a couple hours, but we straightened out the motor mounts. This was a bit of a problem, because my uncle told me to get nylon nuts, and the guys at the hardware store pointed me to the wrong thing. They were just plastic nuts, so... So we went under it, we bolted everything in, as you can see. It's hard to tell, it won't focus. There you go. And then you can see it, she's all bolted and ready to go. I mean, it's not loose or anything. And then we took the throttle and choke cables, and just to get them out of the way, we hooked them up. I'm not sure on the right adjustments or not, but this is this is for the throttle. These have to crisscross, which is kind of stupid, but this is for the throttle. This is the governor spring, and this still needs to be adjusted. But when you move the throttle, it puts tension on this spring, and then when the spring moves, when the spring stretches, this shaft here for the governor slides in, and then that in turn moves the linkage back and forth like this, and adjust the amount of fuel going into the carburetor. So I guess now when I have to adjust the throttle, I just have to do it manually like this until we get it figured out. But the choke's all ready to go. That'll control how much fuel versus air gets into the carburetor. It just opens and closes the valve. And that's good and tight. I was going to bolt the battery box in and put the battery in tonight, but I'm not going to do that. Now, you can see I put the dry pulley on here with the screw and the washer in the end, and it's got the original drive belt still. And I'm trying to figure out whether you can run this with just the pulley on it, or whether the whole clutch assembly has to be on it. I posted on my tractor forum. I'll see what the guys say. But this is what it looks like now. I've cleaned up this pulley a little bit. It was rusty. I mean, it's still rusty, but it's not like bad rusty. It's just surface rust. Then I put the mule drive, or the hanger as they call it, back on it, and it's nice and tight right there. And when you have the clutch on it and you have the mower deck hooked up and there's a belt that comes down, it goes from here on that side of the pulley, and then when it comes back up, it comes on that side of the pulley. So it basically goes over and around, down, and then comes right back up. And that's when you have the PTO on it. There's the tensioner spring that comes out the front here. I don't have the handle's not on it, as you can see. But I'm kind of puzzled because I'm not sure where the spring hooks in. You can see I hooked it in there on the main arm, but there's another little arm. Let me get under it. I'll show you. There's that little arm right there. That actually is supposed to move. It's a little tight so it don't move, but there's a hole there. I think that's where the spring has to go, but I'm not sure. I checked with the guys on MTF. I'll let them get back to me on that too. So we'll see. You can see there's the cap screws and everything all bolted in. My uncle fixed a variator. I just put a pair of vice grips on the shaft. And now I don't have a button on it. Now I ordered a new latch. I had to cut the other one off, but I have a new button coming in tomorrow, and I'm gonna put that on there. Focus. And then we'll see. The clutch shaft, I don't know exactly. I think this is the right position, but it acts like it's locked though. I think I might have just been overreacting or something, but we'll see. I don't think it'll be that bad. But yeah, I'll put the battery box in, wire it up, and charge the battery. And I'm still, somehow when all this happened, I lost the cable that goes from the coil to the spark plug. So that's something else on my list. Maybe I can get a cheap one somewhere. I was just at the hardware store today, darn it. I checked the manual for all this stuff. There's my parts diagrams and everything. There's the clutch. I ran to the hardware store today and I bought this as a replacement muffler, and this is what they call a pancake muffler. It's a replacement on a lot of these small motors. This is made specifically for Briggs, Kohler, and Tecumseh motors that are 9 to 16 horsepower, and it has usually these have a pipe, but this one doesn't. This just has the threads on the inside there, and it's supposed to screw onto a 1-inch pipe. And this is a 1-inch pipe, but there's no threads on it. So what I'm going to do is put a piece of an elbow on there, just kind of weld it on there, I guess, and then put an elbow that comes out this way, and put the muffler out here, because that's the way it's supposed to go. I don't want it shooting out the air intake vent there. So I mean, I don't exactly like the look of this because it's all bright. I would rather prefer the black one because then you won't see it when it's, you know, hidden. Because I've seen a lot of these silver mufflers behind the side panels, and they don't look good at all. So it's kind of camouflaged. So it's just going to be like this going out the front, and it's a little big, but I think it'll fit. I think Lake 79 had one on his 210, and I said, hey, I like that. That works too. It's better than, I mean, this was less than $10 at the store. It's better than buying a $75 stock muffler, and it's the whole big thing. And these produce a nice sound too. So, but yeah, that's where the 210 is now. We're getting really close. We still have to do all the rest of the painting and everything, but mechanically she's pretty good to go. Like I said, just got to hook the battery up and do all that stuff. And I'm still gonna check with the guys on MTF and see if this is passable. and if this is passable too, because I'm not, this little sheave here is rubbing against the frame, and I don't think it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to turn freely, but this one's fine. And then this arm down here needs to be loosened so it can move, because I think that's where the spring hooks up to, but I'm not sure. But that's where it is now. So stay tuned, guys, and I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll get there before we know it. All right, take care.